The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Green, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Speaker, I'd like to speak for the 5 minutes, revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, in April of 1963, literary history was made when Dr. King published his letter from the Birmingham jail. In that letter, Mr. Speaker, Dr. King proclaimed, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Mr. Speaker, these words were true then and they are true today. Injustice anywhere is still a threat to justice everywhere. And Mr. Speaker, when the Republican leadership decided to hold up Merrick Garland, they did more than hold up a nominee. They did more than prevent him from being heard. They did more than approve him such that he could become a justice on the Supreme Court. They did more than prevent President Obama from having the opportunity to appoint a nominee to the Supreme Court, Mr. Speaker. When they held up Merrick Garland, they hijacked justice. They hijacked justice and prevented the American people from having the opportunity to hear of the credentials of Merrick Garland so that he could receive just consideration. They didn't have to approve him, but they should have, in the sense of justice, they should have given him the opportunity to be heard. They hijacked justice. When you hijack justice, this type of injustice cannot go unchecked. We cannot allow the legitimization of that hijacking to take place today. If we move forward with the nominee being proposed by the Republican leadership, by the President of the United States, this would be an effort not only to legitimize, it would legitimize the process that they employed to hijack justice. I refuse to stand with those who would hijack justice. The American people refuse to stand with those who would hijack justice. The American people are demanding that a just system be in place. The only way a just system can be in place is for what happened to Merrick Garland to be rectified. This is not retaliation that I'm speaking of. This is not retaliation. This is rectification. There has to be rectification for what happened to Merrick Garland. And rectification requires that the Senate take up Merrick Garland. I believe the American people want the Senate to take up Merrick Garland so that he too can receive justice, so that this country can receive justice, so that the American people can receive justice, so that they can hear about Merrick Garland's credentials. Yes, the current nominee has great credentials, but so does Merrick Garland. There are many adjectives that can be utilized to describe the current nominee, but there are many great adjectives that can be utilized to describe Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland deserves his day. Without his day, we cannot go forward in a just way. So I encourage the American people to do that which is just. Contact those who have a voice in this and say to them, do not approve any nominee until there is justice for Merrick Garland and justice for the American people, justice for what occurred when they hijacked a nominee to the Supreme Court, hijacked the nomination, hijacked an opportunity. Hijacking cannot be tolerated. Yes, Dr. King was right. Injustice anywhere is still a threat to justice everywhere. But he also went on to say immediately thereafter, life is an inescapable network of mutuality, tied to a single garment of destiny. What impacts one directly impacts all indirectly. This hijacking that took place last year is going to impact all in this country indirectly, because every person in this country will be subjected to the rulings of a Supreme Court with a nominee that will have an asterisk by his name because his opportunity exists as a result of a hijacking that took place. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And we ought to realize that this injustice cannot be tolerated and must be rectified. It's not retaliation, it is rectification. I yield back the balance of my time.